Hello and welcome to another video of KeyStage. Now, KeyStage recently got an update to version 1.2, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate some of the features of this new version of KeyStage, both the Lite version and the full version. So I'm going to start with the Lite version. Now, the Lite version has now two modes. You can see the buttons here, down here. So mode 1 is the standard mode of the Lite version, but if I switch to mode 2, now I don't have the limitations of the mode 1. I just can, create any number of tracks, access all the features of the full version. There are only two limitations. One is that I cannot access to the file system, so I cannot save songs in this mode 2. And also I cannot access to the Dropbox. And now you can see that there is a remaining time here. So when I switch to mode 2, I get a 2-hour long session. And during this session, I can just, test all the features of the full version, and I can actually go back to mode 1 at any time I want. And when I activate mode 2 again, I'll start another 2-hour session. And at the end of these 2 hours, KeyStage prompts me to switch back to mode 1. So, and by the way, so I won't be able to save songs, but all the global properties that I change on mode 2 are saved in KeyStage Lite. So you don't have to create instrument presets from scratch every time you switch to mode 2. Now, the features I'm going to talk about from now on are both available in both Lite version and the full version. Now, this new feature is about instrument presets, cue-based patch scripts, basically. So I created a database for KeyStage, and KeyStage directly accesses to this database, a database of instrument presets. So I have my Node keyboard here. I haven't connected to iPad yet. This is the camera connection kit. Now, if I connect my Node keyboard to this iPad, it says MIDI connections change, and now KeyStage suggests me a patch script, actually, an instrument preset for the Node Electro 5. So it accesses this database, compares this MIDI output of Node with the patch scripts, and recommends me with one that matches with that. So I download this instrument preset, and I assign, and when I say yes, it's automatically assigned to Node Electra. So if I create a track, so choose my input and choose my output, now I have all the parameters and all the instruments of Node Electra. So I don't need to search for cue-based patch scripts to actually find it, or I don't need to create them manually. So this is a database of cue-based patch scripts that will keep evolving. So let me show you another example. This is not only restricted to hardware instruments. So here's Synth 1 by AudioKit. So when I open this, now KeyStage suggests me, so this is one of the patch scripts that I recently added to the database, AudioKit Synth 1. So I download it, and again I assign it to the outputs of AudioKit Synth 1. So I choose my inputs. So this is now channel 2 because of obvious reasons. And I choose AudioKit Synth 1. Now I have all the patch scripts here. So KeyStage automatically recognizes these MIDI connections and gives you suggestions, but you can directly access these patch scripts, this database, from here. So here are all the categories and all the patch scripts. You can just do searchings here. And even if you don't get a suggestion from KeyStage, you can actually try to look it up here and find the patch script you want and simply download it. So I create a new instrument. So this database, I'll try to update it as frequent as possible, but if I get patch scripts from the community, and if people create patch scripts for different hardware or software instruments and send them to me, this database will evolve much faster and will be beneficial for the whole community. Okay, now I'm going to go to another new feature, but this time I need to access to the full version of KeyStage. Now I'm going to talk about the setlist feature. So now you can see there is this new setlist folder here, and I can tap create new setlist. So I can start creating setlists by actually taking songs from here. So I can double tap to actually transfer songs into this setlist. Oops, and I can remove them here. So let's actually add some cover songs here. And I can actually tap and hold and change the order of these songs in the setlist. I tap here to name my setlist. So my first setlist. And when I'm done, I just tap here. And when I double tap this setlist, now I have a new bar here. This is the setlist bar, which contains all the songs in the right order. And I can access any of these songs by double tapping. And I automatically loads the song over there. But that's not the only way that you access songs on the setlist. Now in the live performance, these arrows that switch sections actually switch songs when I'm on one end of either on the first section or on the last section. When I'm on the first section, now the previous arrow now switches to the previous song. And similarly, when I go to the end of the song, it's quite a long song here. Now the next song just appears, and when I tap here, it just moves to the next song. So this allows you to just create your set lists for one gig and then never leave the live control surface and just go through the songs without really, leaving the live control console. And one other thing that I want to mention here is this external MIDI control now has a new part, another feature for changing songs. So now I can assign any controller to change songs, not only sections, but also songs. So this is Setlists. And one last feature that I want to show you is the virtual MIDI ports. So now KeyStage supports virtual MIDI ports. You can create virtual MIDI ports, input ports or output ports. And if actually you go to this MIDI connections tab, there's this new part here, virtual MIDI ports. And if I tap here, you realize that KeyStage, there is a default virtual MIDI port that is automatically created when you download KeyStage or update KeyStage to 1.2. So I have one virtual MIDI output and one virtual MIDI input. So why do I need virtual ports? So let me demonstrate. So there are certain apps. Here's one example, Universal Piper. And there are actually a couple of other apps like that, which do not create their own ports or MIDI ports. This is actually working in the background. It's in background mode. But when I open KeyStage and create a track, I won't have a Universal Piper MIDI connection here because it doesn't create one. So virtual ports allows you to actually communicate such instruments. So what I do is I'm going to create an output port, name it Piper. And as soon as I do that, I go to hardware, and now you can see the Piper Virtual here, and also KeyStage Virtual. These are the two virtual ports that KeyStage created. So I'm going to disable the rest and only allow Piper Virtual. And here, now in the output connections, I have Piper Virtual. I also need to. So now it's connected, even if Universal Piper doesn't have a MIDI connection on its own. So another use, which is actually very similar, is when you want to use audio units in either audio bus or AUM. So when you actually load an audio unit in AUM, so let's load Synthmaster 1 here, you have the same problem. Audio units do not create virtual ports, do not create their dedicated MIDI ports. So you cannot see synth master 1 here. So you actually need a virtual port. So let's actually create another one here. Now for synth master 1. So if I go to AUM, now I can see all the virtual ports here. Well, AUM has its own virtual port. I can use that. But if I want to use more than one audio unit, I will need more than one virtual port. So KeyStage will allow you to create those. Here's synthmaster 1. I can filter my channels, but it doesn't matter because this audio unit only listens to synthmaster 1 here. I can just enable all the ports. So now in the output section, I choose synthmaster 1 and North Electro here. Okay, what is the problem? Here's a typical issue with whenever I create a new virtual port, or whenever a new MIDI connection is created, certain instruments like this, or almost all synthesizer instruments, automatically starts listening to that. So now Piper also listens to synthmaster 1. I don't want that. I disable this. So therefore, now this communicates with synthmaster 1 and this communicates with Piper. So you won't need a third-party app like MIDI Flow to create virtual ports anymore. KeyStage can basically do that for you.